You know, the case you just mentioned at the Supreme Court, Gun Owners of America is very excited to be part of this case because, as you're outlining, it has huge implications for gun rights everywhere. I mean, here's the situation. We've had lower courts have been ignoring the Second Amendment. They've been ignoring the Heller decision, and that's emboldening localities like New York City and other places to ignore our Second Amendment rights. You know, in New York City, you can be a good person who doesn't even have a speeding ticket on your record, but the city can still deny your right to carry a handgun for protection and for no reason at all. One of the plaintiffs in this case, by the way, had seen his home broken into several times, and yet the city said, nope, you don't have a special need for self-protection. It's just incredible because you shouldn't have to prove that there's a team of ninjas who are trying to kill you before you can get a permit. You know, New York City, really, they've turned the Second Amendment from a right into a privilege, which of course turns the whole notion of God-given rights on its head. And that, again, is why this case is important, because like New York, as you were saying, there's 7 other states that frequently refuse to let people carry guns, and this case can put an end to that.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's interesting because I'm obviously an avid gun owner. As a former Navy SEAL, I had permits in California, Utah, Florida, Virginia, Connecticut, and I could carry a gun in basically every state in America, except for the 3 that surround my state of Connecticut, which is New York, Massachusetts, and New Jersey. It's just like, it's insane. So, you know, what do you say to a place where police, you know, in New York City who said, oh, it would make their jobs impossible? It's like, well, hold on. The criminals are already carrying guns, right?
Well, that's exactly right. The criminals are carrying guns. They've never obeyed the laws, let alone the gun laws. And, you know, I think we would also point out that there are now 21 states that have permitless carry, or otherwise known as constitutional carry. And the safest 5 states in our country are constitutional carry states. You know, in other words, guns actually make people safer. But the most unsafe places in this country are that way because they're discouraging people from owning or carrying guns, like Washington, D.C., New York City, Chicago, and all the rest.
Right. Well, Chicago is more deadly than Iraq and Afghanistan at the height of the war. So, you know, what are the chances, though? I mean, look, we have I don't want to say a 6-3. I want to say like 5.5 to 3.5 Supreme Court conservative favorment. But still, what is the chance that they're going to say, you know what, guys, like the Second Amendment does overrule your state's crummy laws, and if you have a permit in any one state, you can carry in every state?
I think we have a very good chance. I don't know that they'll take it as far as what you're saying to reciprocity. We would love to see that. And Gun Owners of America has been pushing hard for reciprocity legislation in the Congress. It's not actually at issue right here in New York City. This is more about just being able to carry in the locality. And can the locality deny you? Can the locality force you to prove that you have enough of a reason to carry? We shouldn't have to prove our innocence to the government or prove that we have some, you know, incredible need more so than anybody else. So I think that's what's at stake. That'll affect a lot of states already. Plus, a victory here would be monumental because it'll tell judges, stop doing this interest balancing where, you know, you balance the rights of gun owners against what the state wants to do. That's totally illegitimate. The Second Amendment says shall not be infringed.
Yeah, it's almost like they made it simple for a reason. You know, all right, so I want to turn to Connecticut, my home state. They hate freedom. They are they're accused of stopping gun sales because of a new computer system. Basically, the NICS system, which everybody else uses, it works relatively fine. Connecticut says, whoa, we're the government and a bunch of Democrats. We know better, so we're going to put in a new system that is probably the same system they use at the DMV. And now nobody has been able to buy a gun for 2 weeks now.
You know, Gun Owners of America has been involved in a lot of cases like this, and our attorneys are actually looking at this case to see what assistance we might give. And I'll tell you what, Carl, this just underscores how background checks are a huge problem. And, you know, the hypocrisy by the anti-gun left on this.
Let's stop you right there. But I'm okay with background checks as long as it doesn't hinder me from walking out the door with a gun that I just bought. Is that fair?
But see, why, if you're a law-abiding citizen, why should you have to prove your innocence to the government? If you're married, do you have to prove that you're not a wife beater? A God-given right to do something. I mean, what does shall not be infringed mean? Shall not be infringed.
I get it.
See, and that's what's happening here. We're giving bureaucrats the ability to say no to people, and that's why we're having this problem. And, the hypocrisy is amazing. The left says, voter ID laws are bad because they dissuade people from voting. Well, tell me, what does a background check system do when police can drag their feet and hundreds of people aren't getting approval to buy guns? That's the problem when you institute these restrictions upon law-abiding citizens.